I feel like there are kind of two sides to the plant-based community. There's the health side, there's the environmental side, and obviously there are many people that sort of follow both.
Yeah.
There are people, especially on the ethical side, that would say you should go vegan 100% right now and never look back. And then there are people that'll say, well, you can kind of slowly transition and kind of work your way through, and that's okay. And then you'll get people back and forth hating on each other, saying, no, like that's not the way you should do it. You shouldn't be doing. I know I said I wasn't going to say this, but you had a video recently where the people were walking back and forth, and the guy was talking about Meatless Monday, and he goes, we don't have like Don't Rape People Tuesday or something like that.
Free
yeah,
Tuesdays.
homophobic free day or whatever.
Wednesdays.
You know, I actually got into a debate on a podcast with a plant-based doctor who she never published it. I don't think she liked that I was challenging on this, where I kind of said the same thing. I said working with patients, I think it's, if people are looking to transition and they want to, whether it's for health or for environment, jump right into it, that's fine. But I think it's probably okay. I definitely think it's okay if you want to kind of work your way up. I mean, so as someone who definitely follows both sides of it, what are your thoughts on that?
I am very happy that there isn't some just like, this is exactly what is right in terms of going vegan and being vegan. Like, to me, that would be way more scary. Like, even if the best situation and way of going vegan that I had my stamp of approval on became adopted as this is how you go vegan and this is what everybody thinks, I would be more afraid of that than the current situation where people have sort of an ecosystem of perspectives and beliefs around it, which again, I would rather have, even if there are some people who are completely misunderstanding what it is, and in the beginning they eat some oysters or something, and because they're not sentient in their mind and things like that. Like, I'd rather have these things happening than everybody being even more dogmatic about it. So that's my view.
Right. Well, and I definitely think that the word dogmatic is the right one, because it's, you know, if it becomes, it has to be this, then, and what would happen is just like with anything else, there'd be splinter groups and so forth. But I do think it's interesting.
And there are splinter groups.
Yeah,
there's like welfarists versus abolitionists and all these things.
I think it's interesting when people, you know, kind of decide they're going to pick a side, and then you've got people fighting amongst each other when there's so much misinformation and sort of things out there that I don't know, better battles to fight than it must be raw, or it's not, whatever, or it must be this, or it absolutely, you know, can't be. But then again, do you think there's a slippery slope? Like, if people are like, well, I'm just going to have a little bit of this here and there, you know, do you think that sort of ultimately leads to?
Well, obviously there's a line that's crossed. I mean, a while back there was a debate about like the vegan umbrella, where people were saying like, oh, you can be vegan if you're just trying, and like every once in a while you decide you really want to have like a chicken wing or something, and but that's still vegan because you're pretty much vegan all the time. But I think that's pretty much universally decided to be just a step too far. Like, fine, just call it flexitarianism, like just call it something else. Like, it's clearly not veganism if you're like actively ongoingly deciding to eat animals. And so there are steps that are too far, but
well, at some point you're just not that. You know, and it's okay to
just don't call yourself
be that. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so if you want to call yourself a Christian, but you don't believe in Jesus, you're not a Christian. I mean, you can still be whatever else, but it sort of becomes a thing. And I know you and I talked about this once, which is, you know, for the 10 months that I got ready for the bodybuilding show 2 years ago and shot the movie, I was full vegan, not just whole food, plant-based, full vegan. But then, like, I stopped calling myself vegan because I felt like it wasn't. I started calling myself 100% plant-based in my diet because I felt like I was missing pieces of it. Like, you know, before I had become vegan, I bought a new car and there's leather in the car, and I felt like a hypocrite. And I remember even asking you once about the belt that I was wearing and so
and
forth.
I took it off and I just whipped you.
Right,
with it
absolutely. You know, but you know, I don't know, but I feel like, again, that people get stuck into those labels, but then there are things assumed about you. Like, if you say you're conservative, people sort of, okay, therefore you believe blah, 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 blah. You know, and so we earlier talked about, like, if you're somebody who's well known in the community, do you ever feel like people come to you for penance almost? Like,
oh, for sure, yeah. They're looking for like the vegan stamp of approval a lot, all the time. Vegan people I know, non-vegan people I know, like, people will just come up to me and be like, but like, I just eat dairy and it's just from like smaller farms. That's okay, right? Like, please stamp me with this like vegan stamp of approval. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just can't. Like, you choose your own thing. But in that video we were talking about earlier, which was, do all vegans think the same? They're asked a question and they walk in certain ways. There was a lot of this discussion, and it was interesting because one of the girls was like, oh, well, actually, I think you're still vegan if every once in a while you have an exception because she travels to like the Arctic Circle and doesn't bring her own food for some reason, but ends up eating some animal products and thinks that's okay. And so it's like, it's okay to just not call yourself a vegan. Like, why would you want to call yourself a vegan when you're just actively choosing to go to these places where you eat animal products? Like, it's okay to not call yourself a vegan. Just say like you're mostly plant-based or something. Sure. Like, you don't have to. And that's where I came up with the joke, stolen vegan valor.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen the YouTube videos of stolen valor where someone will be impersonating like a military person, and then they'll get called out, and then people shout like stolen valor. And so that's like a genre of YouTube videos. And so I see it with the vegan stuff too, is like people want that label. And like even my mom, who's like probably eats vegan like 3/4 of the time, will go around saying she's a vegan. It's like, why are you saying you're a vegan? And so it's funny that at one end we have people hating on vegans and everything that vegan stands for, and then we also have people like kind of pushing it a little bit and actually kind of pretending to be full vegans when they aren't vegan, which is, I mean, it's cool. I'm like happy that she wants to be vegan and other people want to be vegan. It's just an interesting phenomenon.